Hello geeks, welcome to the Medical Coding Geek YouTube channel. Today I have another video with a post. I have a lot of posts that I need to go over from our Facebook groups, and this one is a continuation of experience. If you haven't watched the video of my interview process, please do that. The last video I did before that was in regards to medical coders and nursing. When they finish school, nursing gets the job real fast, and medical coders, they have a struggle. In today's video, we have a post where we have an experienced medical coder who took a change from working at a hospital to working with contracting. Her experience kind of went downhill. And this video is just going to explain that and share my thoughts in this situation. So let's get to this video. Geeks, welcome. My name is Brian Kui. I am a healthcare professional with over 20 years of experience in HIM, CDI, and medical coding. If this is the first time watching, welcome. I do a lot of videos, not necessarily on medical coding education, but anything that's revolving around medical coding, HIM, and CDI. Today's video, I'm going to read this off. I'm going to show you the post. Hi geeks. So a couple months ago, I was hired by a coding company, and specifically this is a contracting company. 8 weeks later, I ended up being let go. So only 8 weeks, that's about 2 months, she was let go because despite her being upfront about her experience, which was about 1.5 years of inpatient coding, they assured me that they could get me up to speed quickly. So when I hear quickly, that's kind of like a big flag. The position was clearly not for a newer coder. Despite my efforts and tenacity, I was threatened with termination 2 weeks after starting. Has that happened to any of you? I own the fact that I am newer. Time you start a new job, you are taking a risk, but it really felt almost like a setup for failure, whether intentional or not. When you make a jump and take a risk into a job that it may look great, it may look awesome, but in the end, you get burned. I mean, it happens in careers, it happens in life, and all you have to do is just learn from that. But let's break this down a bit here. First of all, she has 1.5 years of inpatient coding. That is great. My question is, what happened, that led you to leave that organization and go into contracting? Was it for money? Was it because that time in that hospital or wherever you were working before wasn't great and you wanted to make a transition? There was a reason for change, but that's none of my business. But regardless, she has 1.5 years of inpatient coding, which is good. It's a good foundation. But I feel like if you ever want to make a transition, it usually takes about 2 to 3 years. Again, going back to the last video where they require 3 to 5 years, I'd like to say 1 to 2, 2 to 3 years. About 3 years is like a max good enough time for you to transition into another role, because 1 year, I feel like 1 year is good for you to get the basics, just to understand the basic workflow. Year 2 and year 3 is more about mastering the concepts involved in your job. So 1.5 years, so like 1 year she's already knowing the basics and how to do the jobs. Now she's 0.5 years, half a year, 6 months in, just starting to learn or understand the overall basics from A through C, that everything that she could possibly see within that job. It could have taken about 2 more years just to do that. I feel it's within my experience. So was she ready? Okay, that's just, she wanted to take a risk, and I felt that's a bit too early. But if they accepted her, that's another thing. So why would they hire her with 1.5 years? She did follow through, but by being upfront. And so because she was upfront, they assured her that they would train her quickly. There's a couple factors here. Did she take a test? I'm sure she took a test, a coding test, and she did great. And with only 1.5 years experience, they felt like, okay, good, she has the knowledge. But again, with medical coding, it's all about productivity and quality. And if you're not moving at the speed that they need, and I think that's a good question to ask in interviews, which I always ask is, how much time are you going to give me to be productive? And another question is, if I'm not productive, what are the repercussions that would happen, that would result in, if I'm not up to par with your coding requirements? I think that's something that you need to ask up front. Don't say, okay, I have 1.5 years, I'm not experienced. What happens if I don't meet your expectations? And how much time do you need to give me before I meet your expectations? I think that's something that people need to ask in interviews. That's something that, if you want to be upfront with that. Don't waste each other's time. If you feel I'm not ready to fit into this role, just tell me now. I'm good either way. Another flag is 8 weeks. So within 2 weeks, 2 weeks after starting, you're already threatened with termination. 1 week for orientation, another week to reach our productivity. She did comment to me, they were expecting her to perform as a coder with 10 years of experience in about 30 days. 1.5 years to 10 years of experience. You can't cram about 8.5 years of experience in about 30 days. It's totally impossible. There's a level of maturity that you need to grow into the role to say you have 10 years of experience. 2 years is good, but again, it's about maturity. It's about the ability to see different situations and problems and how to handle them. That cannot happen. With 10 years of experience, you've seen everything. You have a good idea of how to handle coding situations and how to reference certain resources and solve the problem within a good amount of time that meets productivity standards. Okay, it really is unfortunate that she had to deal with that, which comes into mind. Look, it happens. One thing that I mentioned in the last video is researching about the company, and then number two, really ask those questions. Really ask those hard pressing questions. Because if they ask you, do you have any questions, and you say no, they're going to accept that you're good. If you have worries, communicate it in a way that you are having a discussion with them about it. Ask those questions. The questions that I asked before. I only have 1.5 years of experience. How do you handle employees like me? How fast do you need me to work? How much time do you need for me to work until I reach productivity? And those questions need to be answered. Those are the questions that you need to have prepared because you don't want to get burned. Because again, established companies, quick education means they don't have the time. The person that's probably doing the education was given the task and they have other things to do and they have no time to educate. Again, no budget, no time. Their focus is on the bottom line. The bottom line objective is making money from their client, meeting their client's expectations, because you know why? Whoever the sales associate is that established the contract, they make these goals so high and unachievable to reach. And if you're 1.5 years of coding, it's not going to happen. And so they're quick to just let you go and find somebody else. I bet their turnover ratio is ridiculous. So just my thoughts. These things happen. And so the best thing that you can do is just brush it off and move on to the next one. I like companies that are growing. I like companies that are established. I like companies that have a sense of helping their employees, giving them enough time, allowing communication between the employee and the manager, motivation, mentoring, engagement. Those are things you got to look for in the company. Don't just ask about money. Ask about the culture within the company. That's the thing that you have to understand. It's not just about how much you're going to make, okay? Because they could give you a high amount, let's say $50 an hour, but you're probably going to be miserable because they have such high requirements that are unachievable based upon your standards, all right? So that's all I have to say about this. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you felt this video was helpful, please give it a like. Also subscribe to our channel. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
medcodinggeek.com